somehow.
That's borderline.
I don't know what channel it was on. Like, I just know
TGIF.
Is that a channel?
Okay. Can we just end this episode?
Hey peeps, this is the Scary Movie Project, the podcast where we talk about scary movies, share our perspectives as filmmakers, while puking blood and our spoilery spoilers. I'm Tara.
Ooh, hello, I'm Matt. Puking blood is the name of the game. Terror.
It is.
In the flesh. 5 college graduates rent a cabin in the woods and begin to fall victim to a horrifying flesh-eating virus, which attracts the unwanted attention of the homicidal locals. 2003 people. Cabin Fever. I love this movie.
Oh my gosh, stop hitting your desk.
I love this movie. I'm looking forward to talking about it.
He is pounding on his desk, you guys. He's so excited about this movie.
Is awesome. It is awesome.
Okay, so as you said, 2003, directed by Eli Roth.
Okay, Eli Roth is my hero. He's my hero.
He's amazing. He's fantastic.
He and Rob Zombie are my two idols, my heroes. And
this was written by him and a gentleman named Randy Perlstein.
Yep.
Perlstein.
So they were
Perlstein.
I think they went to may have gone to NYU together.
I think they went to school together. Yes.
NYU. And then he got the idea from working at the horse farm. Well, I'll let you keep going. I know all. I don't want to ruin everything. You keep going.
No. You can tell that. Go for it.
No, I think a lot of the idea from it was he was working and he had some gig at a farm in Iceland or something. Eli Roth did it after college, and I don't know when it happened, but I guess he got a really bad skin rash, and I guess this kind of led the way for him to kind of say, "Hey, why don't I make a movie about this, about a flesh-eating virus?" And
it was apparently from the rotting hay in the barn, and he said, and this is the worst part in the movie, I think, for me. Okay. He said that his face broke out all in sores, and it bled and peeled off when he shaved.
So I'll get to that. We'll get to that. Good. Yeah, that's a great part.
And then, let me, before we jump in, let me just add on that the sound mixer, John Neff, also, he had survived a real flesh-eating bacteria.
People get
bacterial
it.
disease.
And
so
it's real.
He said it took him 13 days of intensive care, medical contention to save his life. He says the makeup in this film is like absolutely accurate.
People get it.
This is what it looks like.
It's real, and you can be like bedridden and almost dead like that dude, and some people get it and they just take whatever. But you don't want to end up like these folks, that's for sure.
It is so gross. Okay, so
it's so gross, and I love it.
Before we start talking about everything,
yes,
do me a favor, Matt. Guys, we're going to do this a little bit differently today. We're not going to go through the entire movie. Instead, Matt is going to give us a rundown of the essentials.
Oh man, okay. All right, now starting from scratch. Okay.
Yep, no pressure.
No, Cabin Fever. Okay, so it is the. I wrote an article, a review about this that I certainly hope you guys can read on, shameless promotion, hilltopvideos.com blog. Please read my article. As I say, it's a gory tale of friends after college. It's these 5 kids. No, it's 4 of them, 5 of them. After they graduate school, and they roll out to a cabin to kind of just chill for like a weekend, whatever. Obviously it doesn't go well. They find we first were introduced to this hermit, and he gets the virus from his dead dog. And they see him, they're hanging out having a campfire. He shows up all twisted and gnarly, and they don't help him out. It's comical, and it's, this movie I love because it just has so much to it.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's gross. It's scary. It's like it's just a lot of great things. They end up getting the virus, of course, one by one, obviously. First, Karen, and then they lock her up in a shed, and everybody gets it. And the great thing is, starring Ryder Strong, Sean Hunter from Boy Meets World. Don't lie to me. It's not your favorite show. Because I love me some Boy Meets World. Let me tell you, I'm not going to be bashful about that.
I never saw it.
Oh, man. Like, seriously, not even an episode?
I don't know how I missed it. I have no idea how I missed it. I just never, got it.
Man.
Somehow.
That's borderline.
I don't know what channel it was on. I just know.
TGIF!
Is that a channel?
Okay. Can we just end this episode? This is borderline tragic.
I guess I'll have to go watch it. I think my husband has even seen it. I've never seen it.
Ryder Strong, we love him. He's great. He plays what the heck? Paul, I think is the character's name.
Yeah, he plays Paul.
So yeah, basically what it is the dude, the homeless guy, after he gets lit on fire and a bunch of stuff, falls into the water supply, and that's how they all get it. Because Bert makes like a bet that he can drink only beer the whole time.
Yeah,
he gets
Bert
it from drinking the water.
And Jeff make that bet.
And it's kind of funny because all these guys remind you of someone you know, like, right?
Well, yeah. They're very typical, like, college student stereotypes.
They really are.
So the thing I love about it is as they go through, and, you know, and of course, one by one, they all die.
Did I do a very good job of explaiing this? I didn't really finish.
You did a pretty good job of explaining it.
Should I keep going? I've kind of gotten off track here, honestly.
You did a pretty good job of explaining it. But basically what I love about it, I think we got the gist, though. What I love about it,
virus, they all die, and they're all hunted down by some backwoods crazies at the same time.
And they fight with the backwoods crazies.
Yes.
And who are not that crazy, but that's the whole other story.
What you got, you gave to Dennis.
I love the most about this movie.
Everything?
Well, it's a great movie overall. But my favorite thing about it is that nobody actually dies of the virus.
Yeah, that is pretty accurate.
Nobody dies from the actual virus. They all end up killing each other.
Or get some, they're murdered. They're all murdered.
Yeah, they're all murdered or eaten by a dog or whatever because they're so afraid of each other having the virus and giving it to themselves, giving it to someone else, you know?
So the dog's name is Dr. Mambo.
Oh, the poor dog. It's so gross.
Dr. Mambo. I love that scene.
But there's two dogs. There's the first dead dog that's with the
hermit. I don't remember what his name was. But
with the hermit, I don't think it had a name, but he goes over to it and he like touches it, and he grabs its front leg and
mutilated, and it's just totally mutilated.
The whole center of it is like just gore.
Yeah, he's like totally mutilated, and then just squirts him in the face, and that's where.
Yeah, it's so gross. It's so gross.
And then I think okay, so Eli Roth, like I said, he's like my hero. I love his movies. Like I just I think he said things like when he was a kid, I think for his like bar mitzvah or something. He had like a chainsaw shaped cake. Like horror is like his thing. It's like his DNA kind of deal, right? He did a cool thing. I don't know if you guys ever watch. I like to watch the DVDs back in the day. Whatever. With director commentary, I love to hear what they have to say, right?
Yeah.
And he does one that's pretty cool. He doesn't even talk so much about the movie. He kind of just talks about like making movies in general, and he talks about like how like film school is a good idea and what he learned and how he learned how to make movies, and just it's really kind of, for someone like me and you, it's just like you can really eat this stuff up. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
He loves scary movies, and this is like his homage. Like, there's so many cool scenes that are they're in the car, and one of the first scenes they're driving to the cabin and they listen to that song, The Road Goes to Nowhere, Last House on the Left. That's what that's from, right? There's scenes like when he stabs the guy with the screwdriver in the ear. It's from Dawn of the Dead. The cabin looks like the cabin from Evil Dead, right? There's a couple shots that remind me of, reminds me of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's little things that he puts in here that are just totally homages to these movies that if you love this stuff, like you get it and you really appreciate it. He spent his time, he raised his money, he wrote it. He got, Badalamenti, the Italian guy, to do the score for him. It's like incredible. The film looks great. It looks really, really nice. It's beautiful. He shot all this stuff right. Like that's a dream. Like his dream came true. And that is just like so amazing to see someone who loves this so much to do this, and just like to have that same frequency I had with him. So when I went to go see it, and I'll plug it if I wrote it in the same thing, my friend Kevin, if he's listening, he was the one was like, let's go see Cabin Fever. Like this movie looks awesome. And I hadn't heard anything about it, quite frankly. And we watched it and I was like, okay, good choice. This movie's awesome. I mean, it's just great. I think it was 2000. I was like 23 at the time when we saw it. I've probably seen it, 10 times since. I love it. So I have met Jordan Ladd. Jordan Ladd is amazing. She's beautiful. She's wonderful. What's her face?
She plays Karen.
She plays Karen.
Who is the girl who Paul likes.
Who doesn't, quite frankly, right?
And she's an interesting character, I think, because in a lot of movies, she would be the final girl. right?
Yeah.
She's the sort
There's
of
definitely
sweet,
no final
innocent,
girl in this movie.
like, yeah, but
she's a total
she's
tease.
more of, she's more of, I was going to say she plays more of a manic pixie dream girl for Paul.
Yes.
Like, so she's very,
totally.
She's
he's
very
been after her forever.
flirtatious. She obviously likes him, but she's
But
like not going to come out and say it.
But that's not an uncommon. I mean, how many guys and women at the same time have had that in their life where there's been that girl or that guy that has been like, you know each other. You probably got something going. You may never hook up, like whatever. It happens all the time. But I met her finally. She's wonderful. She's gorgeous. She's amazing. She's a wonderful actress. She's awesome. She's in some other great stuff. You should see a movie called Grace. She's in that movie, and it's wonderful.
Oh, I've heard that movie's good.
Yes, it's not for everybody, but it's wonderful. So I met her. It was fantastic to meet her. I met Serena Vincent, who played, was it Marcy, right, in the movie?
Yes, she played Marcy. Mm-hmm.
I met her. She was great too. And I was asking her, of course, the famous scene. She's shaving her legs, and they're disgusting.
Oh,
and
that
whatever.
scene. Oh, God.
So I asked her, like, what did you think of that? What was motivation? How'd you do it? And she said, the whole time Eli Roth was just telling her, I just need you to think of the worst day of your life right now. I need you to do that. And I guess it worked because, for those that don't know it, there's that scene where she gets the virus and she's shaving her legs. Why in that situation would you be taking the time to shave your legs? I'm not sure, but the point. And because it made for a great scene.
She's got the soap on her legs,
she's
the shaving cream.
She's all done up. Yeah.
She does one stroke of the razor and you see it appear and you see her like start to cry.
Well, no, not at first. You're not sure what's going to happen. You think but you're not sure. It doesn't happen right away.
But when you see it,
when
you see it, she's crying. But my point is, she keeps shaving the leg after she sees the sores.
She does.
It's horrible.
Well, we love it as the audience.
It is one of the worst things I have seen on film. Like, it's so...
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It's
and then
so
you see her
unsettling.
And then I love the part also after that. It's even worse,
hold on,
I guess.
I have more about that part, though.
Okay, yeah.
So that scene, she said she was naked. It's a freezing cold set. She said it was the very, very unpleasant.
North Carolina in spring, I think is.
She's naked in this cold bathtub. The water's all cold. In goo, fake blood everywhere.
Yeah.
And she said it was completely sanitary. They made sure it was, but she said that it felt really icky.
I mean, could you imagine? Yeah, that makeup is top notch. I mean, your mind starts, of course it will. I mean, that's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
It's so gross.
But I think what makes that scene even worse that's bad enough. But then she gets up and remember her and Paul had just had sex. So she's got his marks all over her back too. Like she's like falling apart. And then of course the dog eats her. And for those that want to know the cool thing, of course, that is Eli Roth, who's Grim, the guy that shows up with all the weed.
Or Justin.
Justin or Grim, yes. Grim is my skating name, he says. That is Eli Roth with his big bag of pot. By the way, acting, if you've seen, I hope you all have seen Inglourious Bastards, which is an incredible movie by Quentin Tarantino. He plays who is it? Donnie whatever, the bear Jew, I guess, in that movie. And he's awesome in that movie. He's not a bad actor at the same time. He can make good movies. But yeah, I mean, he did the Hostel movies. Say what you want about those. Okay, I know people have mixed opinions on those.
Oh yeah.
But I mean, this is like the best. So
speaking of Eli Roth being in the movie, did you know that he originally planned to play Deputy Winston?
No, we should talk about Deputy Winston though, because that scene is so freaking hilarious. He did want to play Deputy
Winston, but Giuseppe Andrews came in. Giuseppe Andrews came in and was so good that he was just like, nope, this guy's him.
Dude, when he shows up and starts talking about, hey man, you
get a party?
We're going to have so many good parties. The best line of the movie, hands down, is where
you party
he comes up
with the ladies. I bet.
And Karen comes out of the house. That's what's going on. And he looks at her and says, don't worry, man. Everything's fine. Go get yourself a big 40. Just party.
Yeah, just party.
What are you talking about?
He's so hilarious. Oh my God.
But that's part of his homage too. It's those old 70s movies where like the cops are just like, everyone's just party, man. Like it's just so great. he just, and that's, I think, part of the argument. People don't like the movie. They're like, oh, it's just a ripoff of all these other movies. Well, I mean, like, flattery, like, what's the sincerest form of flattery, whatever they say. What's the term? I can never remember.
Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
Exactly. So, but yeah, I mean, I just think he did everything right, and it made it look so good. What I think is great about is also the sense of, like, the virus as, like, this looming, deal. Like, it's actually, it's actually, tearing them apart. It's like, well, physically and literally. I think that part is just really so interesting about it, where you have this anxiety and this looming dread of it, like, the whole time as it's coming. It's gross, like the way they just get all nasty and.
Oh, and the makeup is so
it's
well
so great.
done. Oh, it's all so gross.
They put Karen in that shed, and she just goes, "Fuck you guys! I'm gonna die in here." It's like,
well, but that scene where he comes back in, where what's his name? Paul comes back in to check on her, and the whole bottom of her face has, like, rotted off.
You know what I'm gonna say? I tell people this from time to time when we talk about this movie. Tara, I'll tell you this right now. If that ever happens to you, I will be glad to bash your face in with a shovel.
Please do. Please do. If I ever get to that point, just put me out of my misery. That was horrible.
And so I love, Ryder Strong in the making of thing, mentioned, like, the happiest Eli Roth had ever been. And it was that one when they were shooting that scene, and he's bashing the shovel. And Eli Roth is underneath him with a ketchup bottle full of blood, just squirting him and, like, laughing the entire time. And I can just imagine, like, wouldn't that be so much fun to do, right? That would just be a blast.
Oh, God, that would be so much fun. It would be hard to stay in character and be, like, seeming upset about it.
All right, so let's talk.
Okay,
let's talk about let's talk about the. You want to talk about the fingering scene? That's kind of the. Yeah, that's kind of like every guy's worst nightmare, but I mean everyone's.
That's the other worst scene in the movie, you guys. Oh my God, so.
Would you like to talk about?
Also,
would you like to talk about that?
Sure, I will try to talk about it appropriately.
We don't have. You know what? When I wrote my article, I wrote it tastefully. We don't have to be vulgar.
Possibly inappropriately. We'll do our best. So
we'll see.
Karen is asleep, and they don't know she has the virus yet.
She's drank the water.
She hasn't been feeling good. Right? She's drank the water. And the drinking of the water, how can you make water seem so menacing? Like,
right.
And she, like, goes to take a sip and you're like, ew, 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 no.
Right.
She takes the sip. It's so bad. But so she's asleep. It's a little rapey. I got to be honest.
Really? I thought it was a nice soft with the music.
She's
and
dead ass asleep.
She tells him to stay.
Right, but then she's asleep.
She says, "Don't go." Okay, fair enough. She falls.
She is literally unconscious, and he starts fondling her.
They do fall asleep, don't they? And then the scene picks up. You're right. My fault.
They are asleep, and he's watching her sleep, and he starts fondling her breast, and then he slides his hand down, and you see her sort of moaning a little bit in her sleep.
Yeah, she does.
And then he brings his hand up, and there's blood all over it.
Not just blood. There's like chunks of stuff on his fingers. Yeah, dude.
So bad.
Yeah, there's like pieces of body. So you know what? To your point, so no one hates me. I'm sorry. You're right. They did fall asleep, and I had forgotten about that.
Yeah, it's a little bit rapey. It's a little like stalker-esque.
Well, you know what? I think that's fair enough. They put that in there.
And I think maybe it's a little bit a product of its time.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But yeah, it made me feel a little icky about him doing that.
I mean, I think no matter how you're looking at that scene, I think it's icky no matter.
Well, yeah,
what
but
context.
I mean, even before we knew what was going to happen, it's icky that he does that.
Right. She's asleep and he's just going to town.
Yeah,
on it. Right, of course.
It's icky. Yeah. But I want to talk really quickly about another side character.
Okay.
Dennis.
Oh man, if I could get up and everyone could see, I would do like the pancakes dance right now.
Okay, so his pancakes thing at the end, he starts yelling pancakes, and he does. Apparently, it's Taekwondo.
And
he goes over and he bites. Bert. Is it Bert? Yeah, he bites Bert on the arm. Well, apparently that was added in during filming because Eli Roth saw the actor Matthew Helms practicing Taekwondo on a break and was like, all right, we got to put this in because the kid was a black belt.
Wouldn't you?
The kid's a black belt. He was like, we got to put this in.
And it's badass because they show it in like slow-mo and he's doing all this crazy like helicopter stuff. Yeah, it's dope. I would do it.
It's a perfect example of utilizing what you have, like of recognize a director needs to recognize what they've got and what people's talents are and
definitely did that.
Showcase them and use them to the best purpose for the film. And it's just this weird moment, but Dennis is such a weird, strange kid.
That's a good way to put it.
That it works.
And he also showcases pretty awesome haircut.
Oh, that haircut's horrible.
Oh man. And I love that his brother, dad, cousin, God only knows what he is. You got a sickness, that's your problem. And then you go and give it to Dennis, that's my problem.
Well, and Dennis
telling him what he's gonna do.
So if you haven't seen it yet, guys, Dennis is like the child of the man who runs the creepy general store. So there's the old man and then his son, his adult son.
He's not really an old Dennis. Man. No.
There's the old guy.
Sorry, right. You're
then there's the adult son, and then there's Dennis.
God. Okay, so then there's the scene with
Dennis
the gun.
Dennis has a penchant for biting people.
Yeah, Ryder Strong is just next to him. How you doing there, sport? And the kid just sits there, but then he bites Bert. Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention the great part about the gun with the old guy, but I'm not going to repeat the words they say.
Oh yeah.
Because that part is hilarious.
Yeah.
It's so ridiculous. Oh my God.
That's a little bit of a flip because you think these in the beginning, these people at the general store seem very creepy and they seem very off. It's a teen horror movie trope, right?
It's very stereotypical. Absolutely.
The crazy backwoods people at the general store or at the gas station or whatever it is.
Deliverance. Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly right.
And so they say, he has fox piss. And they say, what's that for? And he says, well, that's for foxes. And then he points at the gun and he says, well, what's that for? And he says, that's for and he says the N-word.
Yeah.
And
if you're watching, you're like, what the hell?
The whole movie, though, you're like, oh my God.
You forget about it because
racist backwoods people. And at the very end of the movie, these black people come in and he gives them the gun and he's been cleaning it for them. And it's like this weird joke.
And they're like pounding, they're like giving each other a dap, and they're just like, oh, it's freaking hilarious.
Yeah,
it's hilarious.
It's again, I think it's a little bit of a product of its time. I don't know if anybody would have put that in a movie nowadays.
Probably not.
But it's a funny little twist of like
it's just silly.
Well,
it's just
and
like
it's part of I think showing the stereotype that we have of these backwoods people in the horror movie. And then, they come out and they're chasing the kids because they, but to them, they're like, these kids have been killing people.
Yes.
Like, so of course they're going to try and go chase them and get them out. Like,
right.
Of course. Yep.
Exactly.
So yeah, there are a few things in this movie to me that are a little bit like, not sure we would do that nowadays. It's a little iffy, but
I think any movie you can make that argument. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because this is the first time. It's the first time you've seen it.
I think this is the second time I've seen it.
Okay, so I was gonna, two parts, I guess. There's a couple sequels: Cabin Fever 2, Spring Fever. Don't watch it; it's disgusting. Like it is. If you think this was gross, this second movie is just like it is so raunchy. Ty West actually directed it, which is weird because his stuff is so good. I think it was his first movie. I usually like Ty West. He was getting going. Then they made like another Patient Zero. I never saw it. Then they made a remake, and it's kind of the same thing, but I think Eli Roth was a producer, and I think the point of it for him was there were some things he maybe didn't get to do originally, and he got to add them into this new one. I think that was the point. It's not awful, but it's not this movie, but it's not awful. It is worth watching. I did like it.
Yeah. Okay.
And to my, what I was going to also say about, the product of the time or whatever, I was reading something recently about how American Beauty, which I think is an amazing movie, won Best Picture. They were saying, looking at it now, is article on some film magazine online arguing that it's like the most distasteful, stereotypical product of the time movie ever. Because that's, well, Kevin Spacey's in it, whatever you want to say.
Yeah,
but I thought it was
definitely hurts it nowadays.
I thought it was so interesting because, he's in it, yeah, but I think it's still a fantastic movie.
I think to some extent, like, we have to recognize if things are problematic. I think we have to say, yes, that is problematic. But I think we also have to look at art, and horror movies are art, people. I think if you're listening to this podcast, you probably agree with us on that.
You know what?
But I
just
think
movies
we have,
are
well, yeah, but I think we have to look at art as a product of its time and the
yes, I agree with that.
Society and culture that it came out of. And so, yes, we need to acknowledge when things are problematic, but that doesn't mean that we should throw out the whole thing.
No, not at all. But yeah, I thought that I mentioned that because I think you were mentioning about the product of the time. So yeah, interesting. Yeah, the sequels, yeah, they're not worth your time. Believe me. I mean, if you really want to watch them, go ahead. But yeah, I love it. I mean, it really just like it did everything I wanted it to do, and I think if you're someone who loves that stuff like I do, I think that was his ultimate goal. I think was to hit those.
Yeah.
I think he did a great job of it. I like the woman who was the sister of the guy they killed. Remember they go to her house. And she's slaughtering the pigs.
Yeah.
The farm.
Yeah.
And they have no idea. They go
they
inside
see
and
the
they see
picture
the
of the
photos of him,
hermit, and they're like,
oh, we got to get out of here. Yeah. Which is kind of
one
weird.
other tidbit that I like. So the story. They're at the campfire in the beginning. I think it's before Justin Grimm comes in.
The bowling alley.
The bowling alley. So
love that.
So that story.
Talk about that.
That story. Yeah. Do you know this? It's based on a real life quadruple homicide from Boston in the 80s.
Oh,
I think in 1980.
Eli Roth is a Boston guy. Because there was a big time, like 4 or 5 homicides in New Mexico back in the 80s.
Yeah, no, this is from Boston in 1980. And this bowling alley former employee, Brian Dyer, broke in. There were 4 employees. He bound their hands, 3 with handcuffs, the 4th with his belt. And he bludgeoned them all with a bowling pin before shooting them all once in the head. And they all ended up dying. And he was eventually caught, and he got 4 consecutive life terms and died in prison in 2011. But I thought that was interesting that he pulled that real story to make the Paul's sort of ghost story.
And he tells the story like, that actually happened. He tells us, the same thing.
Yeah. But they are all like, like he's just telling them a scary story that's not real.
And that was really well done. I mean, they really shot that really nice. And is that Eli Roth, the crazy guy wearing like a bald cap in that? Is that him too? Isn't that?
I don't know. I didn't know if that was or not.
It looks a lot like him, but I don't know if it is. But they shot that really well. That was really well done too.
Yeah, they do they do like a. It would be like a flashback of it, of the story as he's telling it. That was well done. It was a little. It was very different than the rest of the movie. I feel like it's kind of it's almost like they put a little short film in the movie.
Yeah, but it's really cool.
Yeah.
I also I love when they're so stupid when the way they burn this guy. They're so stupid. And the next day, I just love Karen's line. That man asked for our help and we lit him on fire. It's just like
so one other interesting thing that I noticed about this movie was the lighting. So I love the nighttime lighting in this. It's all pools of light in the darkness.
It's beautiful. Yeah.
And everything's very warm, like it's all firelight or a candle. Even if it's not, it's very warm and like very pools of light. And so I found this interesting bit about it that as the film progresses, the levels of the light become increasingly darker.
Well, and that's the whole point of a horror film, right? Light to dark.
But it was partially on purpose, but it was also partially because of circumstance, because, in some scenes it was deliberately darkened.
Sure.
But in other, Joey Kern, who played, what's the other guy? Jeff.
Jeff.
Who played Jeff.
And don't you just hate Jeff? Isn't he the great character that you hate?
Well, he got his. Yeah, he's kind of a dick. But actually, although I mean, they're all kind of dicks. Let's be honest. Like in their own way, they're all kind of dicks.
I made it.
I made it. No, you didn't.
And he gets blasted. I love it.
So he injured his eye several times,
really?
like 4 times. He injured his eye set, and so.
How?
I don't know, but so they
that.
kept having to make on-the-fly changes to the shooting schedule because of that.
No kidding.
And so a lot of the scenes that take place in the cabin on the last day were filmed in the middle of the night.
Oh, okay. When they
so
could,
the light from the windows is artificial, so it's dimmer than real sunlight. So it was partially on purpose that it was darker in the later bits, but it was also partially because he was injured and they had to work around him being in the hospital and stuff.
Okay, I did not know that at all.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
That is very, okay. Well, they made it work. I had no idea, so there you go.
Yeah, I would have thought it was just totally on purpose.
Movie magic. So quickly characters. Okay, they're not, going to win Academy Awards. Jordan Ladd, beautiful actress. Same with Serena Vincent. They totally do the deal. Ryder Strong, like I said, Boy Meets World. He really never does anything else besides that. So it's kind of like, it's cool to see him in that. And, he's just like the all average kind of guy. And, Bert is just a dumbass who just drinks beer.
Bert, James
and Jeff
DeBello.
is just like, and Jeff, he's in some other stuff. He's not bad. And then Jeff is just like a tool. He's just, I love when at the end, when he's leaving, he grabs his 6-pack and he like covers his mouth and he's like, I'm getting away from all you idiots. And he just like runs off into the woods and you don't see him for like the second half of the movie.
He just ditches them all. And then when he comes back and he's like, you think he's like breaking down. He's like, they're dead. They're all dead. And then he's like,
he doesn't
smiles.
Care.
He's like, I made it. I survived.
And they open the door and the police just put like 30 rounds in him. So let's think about it. Okay, so Paul kills Karen.
Paul has to kill Karen because she's dying. Marcy gets eaten by a dog.
Destroyed by a dog. And by the way, Karen was getting eaten by the dog in that scene. She would have died anyway, but whatever.
Bert gets shot by the townspeople, I think, right?
His head blown off.
By the townspeople, right?
Yep. He comes in and he blasts his head off. And
Jeff gets shot by the cops when they show up because they're hearing that these teenagers are killing everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The hermit, whose name is actually Henry, the hermit dies of them lighting him on fire.
Oh, how about when Paul finds him in the reservoir and he's leaning over with the stick
and he falls in on top of him? So gross! Oh, it's so bad.
I love it. I love it.
We love it in movies when people like fall and land on a dead body, or
fall into a pit of razor wire.
No. But like, I'm thinking like it's dark and they like light the match or whatever, and it's like bones everywhere or dead bodies everywhere. We love people discovering that they're surrounded by death.
Here you go. 2 great examples, right? Okay, so 3. So Cabin Fever, right there, we talked about. Remember Suspiria? She falls into the room full of razor wire. And then Texas Chainsaw Massacre, when she first comes to the house and she trips and she falls into that room full of bones.
Yeah.
It's like these crazy, spooky surroundings that are so interesting.
Yeah.
But Paul, if you want to know what happens,
Paul, I don't think actually we see die at the end. He ends up in the hospital.
He does.
He does. Does he?
If you watch part 2, you might just see him. And that's all I'm going to say.
Wait, but so he does die at the end.
All I'm going to tell you, I know we spoil everything on this program, but all I'm going to say is, if you want to see what actually happens to Paul, you do have to watch.
But I don't. But what I'm saying is, in this movie, I don't think we see him die.
He does not die. No,
he is in the hospital. He is in really bad shape, but we do not see him die.
Remember, yes, we do. That is correct. But at the end, remember, they don't leave him in the hospital. Remember at the very end what happens at the very end of the movie, right? They go and they dump his ass in the creek. And then that last shot of the movie is a shot of him laying there unconscious, and they zoom out, and it is a truck coming before the truck.
Kid. With the little
kids
family.
are scooping up the water in the creek, and they're going to make lemonade. And everyone in the town,
I forgot that they drinking because they're like, "We'll take care of this last guy. We'll take care of him." And they're all like, sort of nudge, nudge, wink, wink about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
They take care of the problem. So yeah, we realize that everyone in the town is going to get it, which, I mean, it's like a hilarious ending. Yeah, I mean, it's just like I said, it just has these super funny moments. It just looks really good. It's just super entertaining. It's just so much fun to watch. Like, you get these moments of like funny for a few minutes, and then it's just back to this like just total gore and violence, and then it's funny again, and then it's like scary again, and it's just like it's just the balance is really well done.
So what do you think? Do you think, now that we've reviewed Tucker and Dale, you've seen Tucker and Dale Against Evil, do you think Tucker and Dale, that this is one of the movies it's riffing off of? Because I think it is, where they stop and like the kids.
I can see that. Yeah.
So there's the kids, the college kids, they stop at the convenience store / gas station. Tucker and Dale are there. They're like the weird backwoods townspeople.
Yep.
And like in this movie, they're not actually bad people.
Yeah, right.
Although in that we follow Tucker and Dale, whereas in this we follow the kids. But I think there's a little bit of this in Tucker and Dale Against Evil. I mean, there's a little bit of a lot of horror movies in Tucker and Dale Against Evil.
Yeah, well,
but I was watching this and I was like, this makes me think of Tucker and Dale.
Okay, I can see that. Yep, because of the dynamic with that.
Yeah.
I'm curious. Maybe I missed this. I've seen the movie so many times, and maybe I feel stupid asking this. But did we find out what's in the box that dude is carrying? We never find out what's in there, right?
Wait, that who is carrying?
The dudes that run the store, the bald guy that gets the screwdriver in the ear. Did we ever find out what he had in that box? Or am I thinking of like Pulp Fiction?
I don't think so. I think he
was carrying a box.
Yeah, he did have a little box because they were going to go take care of them.
Was it the gun? Was in there?
Maybe it was the bullets.
I should know this. I'm sure. I guess
maybe it was just the bullets.
Maybe I'm thinking of the gold briefcase from Pulp Fiction that we never find out. Maybe I might be mixing up my movies.
I don't remember the box being a very especially important thing.
No, I just remember thinking about it, and it's probably, I'm trying to think of what reference it is, and I might be missing that too. But anyway, it's cool. Yeah, this for me, yeah, this is truly a favorite of mine. It really is. And I've been on the hunt forever, and I can't find. I want a Cabin Fever T-shirt, and I cannot find it.
Really?
So anyone out there, please, if you find one, please let me know so I can order said T-shirt. Or if you'd like to gift it to me, I wear size large, so thank you.
Okay, so here's a couple other interesting things that I found, little tidbits.
Okay.
The dog, Dr. Mambo.
Not a nice dog, like in real life, like mean and nasty. Like they couldn't have people around the dog. It was like an awfully mean dog.
He was hired without a rehearsal, sight unseen, because he was the dog in the Patrick Swayze movie Black Dog.
Okay.
And Eli Roth thought it would be cool to only be 2 degrees from Swayze. Like the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. Yep. He wanted to do that with Patrick Swayze.
He's the man.
By the way, I am 1 degree from Kevin Bacon because I was in the same movie as he was.
See, there you go. I need to tell the world about this. Please.
There's not much to tell. I had one line with what's it called? My One and Only. I didn't act with him. I wasn't in a scene with him, but I had one line.
Doesn't matter.
And he was in that movie too.
Both your names are in the credits.
Both of our names are in the credits. So I have 1 degree from Kevin Bacon.
There it counts. There you go.
So this dog was older at that point, right? It was 4 years older. So it was tired. It was a little arthritic, and they did a full day of shooting with it and only had a minute or so of usable footage.
Well, they always say working with animals and children is impossible.
Well, so what they did was they reshot all the dog scenes with a new dog. And because they didn't have any time or money to find a replacement, they cast a real police attack dog.
It's like a Malinois, right?
It was
or a shepherd?
Probably one of the two. It was so vicious and so unpredictable that they couldn't have any of the actors appear on camera with it.
That's what I heard.
And the crew would hide behind trucks during its scenes and operate the cameras by remote control.
that's like I almost feel bad in a way for that. Like that, I kind of feel bad for that dog.
Yeah.
Like what? Like I know police. I mean, when you think of a police dog, I want a dog that can sniff out like bombs and like stuff. I don't want a dog that's going to try to eat me. Like,
even if
awful.
it's a dog that should be trained to attack, you would think it should be under very good, like it should be on very good behavior.
Yes, it should listen to its owner. Yeah.
Once they tell it to look, maybe they can't tell it to
Handler.
look like it's attacking when it's not. Maybe that was the issue.
Well, it worked because that thing is mean. I mean, Dr. Mambo was not the nicest dog.
It's scary.
He's a professor. He is a professor of being a dog, after all.
So I also have a little bit about the oh gosh, where was it? Oh, the sex scene that Marcy and Paul have after everybody's got it.
Yep. Love it.
So she didn't want to be completely naked, but Eli Roth wanted her to. And so she had been in Not Another Teen Movie and had played a student who just never wore clothes. And she was like, I don't want to really like overexpose myself in this movie too, because I don't want to be typecast as the like nude chick. Yeah. So she wouldn't bare her butt in Cabin Fever.
No butts.
It got so intense between her and Eli Roth that she said if he really wanted a naked ass scene, he'd just have to get another actress for Marcy. Yeah. And they finally got a compromise worked out, which was this. Serena Vincent would show 1 inch.
I think I heard about this.
1 inch on film, and that was it. And so when the scene was ready to be filmed, Eli Roth brought a ruler and measured 1 inch of her butt crack, and they taped the bed sheets there.
Yep. Hey. Okay.
But the funny thing is that later on, there was the bathroom scene where she discovers the rashes on her back. She volunteered to bare her breasts in that scene, even though it didn't call for it. Because she thought it wasn't realistic if she was like in a robe and like lowered it and looked at the back. She thought it would be more realistic for her to just take it off and look at her back.
Yeah. Okay.
So, yep. So there you go. She wouldn't show her butt, but she would show her boobs.
Yeah. Right. Interesting. I think I'd heard that 1 inch story before. I bet that was awkward on set and probably wasted a lot of time. But anyway.
Oh, and then this is a sad one. So when she was auditioning, when they were auditioning actresses for Marcy, they did that monologue she does about like being on a plane and it's going down and all you want to do is have sex.
It's going down.
Because you know you're going to die, so all you want to do is have sex. Yeah. And those auditions were scheduled on September 11th, 2001.
Yes. Heard about that.
And they tried to call off the auditions, but everything was kind of in chaos that day. So they couldn't contact a lot of the actresses.
If you remember cell phones, you could not call anyone.
Oh, no, we didn't know where my husband's dad was for the entire day. We didn't know if he was alive or not.
Any phone you called got a busy signal. You could not reach anybody.
Yeah, because my husband's dad worked at the Pentagon. We didn't know if he was alive. Yep. So anyways, they couldn't get too many of the actresses, so they just kept ahead with the auditions.
Wow.
But I think that's sad.
That's one of those interesting. Yeah, it's one of those amazing. Those stories you hear from that day that affected how it affects every phase of people's lives and world and whatever. It's
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm sitting here right now and I'm looking into my hallway and I have my Cabin Fever 11 by 17 signed by Serena Vincent and Jordan Ladd, and it's hanging up in my house.
Very nice.
I love it. Yeah, I really do love this movie. It really is. It's a lot of fun. Eli Roth, like I said, I love him. I like The Hostels. I like some other stuff he's done. The Green Inferno cannibal movie.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, he does. This was so much fun to watch. I know a lot of people hate on it. I love it. If it's on TV, that's an hour and a half, and I know what I'm doing.
It is a fun movie. It's silly, but it is fun.
And it'll get you. Like I said, it'll make you laugh, and it'll get you. It certainly gets me my fill of violence. That's for sure. It is not short on that. Oh, how about the guy that swallows the harmonica? Remember that?
Oh yeah. That's hilarious.
How awful would
That's
that be?
so
Oh my
good.
God.
He's one of the cops, right?
No,
Or is he
he's
just
one
one
of
of
the
the
townies.
townies?
He's just hanging out.
Yeah, he's funny.
Oh my God.
So I have a couple more little like trivia tidbits too. Okay, so
All right.
Ryder Strong, Paul, while they were filming an especially bloody scene, he decided to go for a walk in the woods between setups, and he's like covered head to toe in blood. Well, he runs into 35 schoolgirls on a field trip.
Oh my God.
So they see this blood-drenched hiker. They start screaming, and then they realize it's
That
the
is
star of Boy
amazing.
Meets World, and they're screaming even more.
Yes! Your favorite show.
Well, now I have to see it. Okay. Well, so they chased him. They chased him through the woods.
That is
and
hilarious.
So he finally did make it back to the film crew, but he said he'd never wander off between scenes again.
Yeah, I would have been so mad at him. Oh my God. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, well.
And then also, one of the crew members, this guy Robert Jones, they had the decapitated the decapitated body prop, and he took it home after the film wrapped. And he was pulled over while he was driving home at gunpoint by police because they thought it was a real corpse. And they held him at gunpoint until they could confirm that it was just a prop.
Can you blame him in a way? I mean, hey, that makes, as long as nothing happened, no one got shot, thankfully. Yeah. That is a pretty great story for the rest of your life.
Oh yeah, you're getting drinks on that for the rest of your life.
Yeah. That's your party
did you
story,
know that Eli Roth's brothers are in the movie?
That might be the guy who plays the dude at the bowling alley then.
Okay,
Remember I was asking about that?
Well, one of them plays one of the sheriff's shooters. That's Gabriel Roth. And then Adam J. Roth plays the happy bald guy, which I think the dude who's in the return. Yeah. He's the dude who's in the ball return.
Okay. That's why I asked, because he looks like
So it's not Eli Roth, it's his brother Adam.
Cool. Got it. All right.
And then also, you met Jordan Ladd. She was not really a horror movie fan before this film came around, but Eli Roth gave her a crash course in horror movies.
Yeah. Now, of course, remember who her mother is, right?
Oh, Cheryl Ladd. Yeah, I was trying to think of her first name for a second.
Yeah, Charlie's Angels. Yeah, and then she did a bunch of. She did Broken the Club Dread.
Yep. So she apparently fell in love with horror movies when he gave her his little.
Hey, that's okay. And then, like I said, check that movie out, Grace. I think. Yeah. In that.
Oh, and so when he was trying to sell the script originally, so he must have had this script, Eli Roth, for several years, because
a long time.
Nobody thought the horror genre was going to be profitable anymore.
Yep. Nobody wanted to pick it up.
Scream came out in '96, which we have to review at some point. Scream came out,
game changer,
a huge success, and so studios started becoming interested in horror movies again. And so he still couldn't sell his script though for a while because studios kept telling him it should be more like Scream. And then a lot of financiers thought that it was kind of unsettling, and they didn't really like the use of the N-word in the film either. So he had a little trouble getting this script out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, he hung up to it for quite a while from what I understand. That's right. Yeah. Well, I'm glad it got made because it's awesome.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. It's really interesting.
I really love it. I do. I'm just thinking, I was watching, I guess I saw it on Instagram or something. He's 50. Eli Roth is 50 years old now, man. Holy cow. This movie was made such a long time ago. It's amazing. I mean, it's just time goes by. This movie is 20 years old now.
Oh my God.
Almost.
It's we're all getting older.
It's
it's not fair. Wow. It's not fun, but we are.
Hey, it's okay.
Well, that's why I want more horror movies about people our age. Why are all horror movies about teenagers and college kids?
Not all of them.
I know, not all, but I like horror movies about grown-ups too.
That is the formula. You are correct. But because it works, it is what it is. So. Yeah, and it worked well in this one too, I think. Yeah, so go watch it if you haven't out there. Please watch it. It's amazing. It's great.
Definitely. So
yes.
All right. Anything else we got to say about this? It's a great movie. Go watch it if you haven't. It's really
I
fun.
think I've said everything, right?
I think so. So next up is a surprise again because we haven't decided what we're doing next. Woo!
I love surprises.
We are playing it by ear. We are flying by the seat of our pants. We are, what are other words for that? Other terms for that? I don't know. We're just winging it, guys.
We're just winging it, man.
And we're having a ton of fun doing it. So please, guys, subscribe to the podcast or follow us, whatever it is, on your Apple Podcast or Spotify or iHeartRadio or whatever the heck you use.
Whatever you
so
use
that more
out
people
there.
can find us, rate and review us. And don't forget to send us your movie suggestions, your thoughts on the movies we've watched so far. Actually, tell us if you like this new format. We'd love to hear from you about like what you want from us and what you like about what you're getting and what you would like to see added to it and things like that. So write us at thescarymovieproject@gmail.com. And you can also follow us on Facebook and Instagram at The Scary Movie Project. Peace out.
Stupid is as stupid does.
The Scary Movie Project podcast is produced by Tara Garwood and Matt Lolich. Learn more at thescarymovieproject.com.